Good morning, and thank y'all for rising so early this morning to get here. This won't happen again. We will make sure of that. All of you have in your package a list of the state property committee rules. If you'll look over those, please, and if you have any comments, please let the chair know. A quorum in here is going to be 5. I think there's 12.
So moved.
So moved. Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? If not, we'll vote on the rules then. It has been duly set to vote on these and seconds. Those in favor of the House State Property Rules for 25-26, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. So now we have some rules to go by. And what I'd like to do right now is introduce the members very quickly before I call on Frank there. And Bill, you want to start over there?
Yeah. Bill Workheiser, represent 4 counties in southeast Georgia, Titan 11, Jeff Davis, and Apple.
Okay. Wake up.
Terry Cummings, I'm Wake. Good to be here. I represent Mableton and Smyrna.
Good, Terry. It's good to have you back. Debbie?
I'm Debbie Buckner. This was my first committee I ever had. When I first
Oh, yeah. And it's still.
It's still one of my favorites. And I represent 4 counties, Troup, Meriwether, Talbot, and Muskogee.
Okay. Mike?
I'm Mike Smith. I represent parts of Cobb County, Marietta, and Mapleton.
And he is our secretary, so anything that you want written down and typed up and just anything.
Broke down.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He will be the one.
Speaking to the mic.
Footnotes and all.
Thank you, Mike. Our vice chair?
Emery Donahue, I represent Hall County and Jackson. I have the cities of Jefferson, Talmo, Pendergrass, and Brazelton. And this is my 14th year here, and this gentleman's kept me straight, and it's been tough, but it's always a pleasure to be here. Of course, I think that could be turned around, too.
Thank you for those words. You want to introduce yourself?
My name is Anna Smith, and I represent the House Budget and Research Office.
Good morning. I'm Representative Robert Planoy from the newly drawn 74th District, which covers part of Clayton and Henry County. So that's Lovejoy, Hampton, and Jonesboro. And so excited to be on the committee.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Arlene Beckles. I represent District 96, which is some unincorporated Gwinnett County, Duluth, and Norcross.
Arlene, we're glad to have you as well on that. And Robert, you, and we're glad to have you. Terry's older now. She's wiser here. These others, I think, have been on the committee before. And this is our attorney over there. You want to...
Christopher Hennessy. I'm from Ledge Council.
Okay, very good. And we have 2 behind me that are my strength in helping put all this together. Y'all want to introduce yourself? These are our interns.
My name is TJ Fernandez. I'm a 3rd year at Georgia Tech.
My name is Ellie. I'm a 3rd year at Georgia State.
Warring groups on that. Very much so on that. And I'm Gerald Green, and I have 9 counties down in southwest Georgia, so pick one down there. But I'm from Randolph County down there. And I have part of Albany and Seminole and Baker and Early, Miller, Quitman, Clay, Calhoun, and then sometimes I forget which ones I'm in. But over the years, I've had 16 different counties in reapportionment, so it really doesn't matter on that part. So now I'm going to officially call the meeting to order, and I'm going to introduce to you an individual that is sort of our guiding force here. Frank, you want to come up to the podium, please? This is Frank Smith. Frank has been with the department,
Gosh, I've been with the state now 25 years.
wow.
Chairman. I started when I was 6 years old.
I remember that.
You had to be 6 years old. In your packet, you have a cheat sheet on the conveyances. You have a cheat sheet on the easements. You also have a page that indicates where these either an easement or whatever it is that we're doing, whose district it is in. And it is my understanding that these representatives have been contacted and talked to about any issue that they may have. And so Frank is going to talk to us about those. This, Frank, you want to start with House Resolution 97?
Sure. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was a nice introduction. Again, Frank Smith. I'm the Deputy Executive Director for the Properties Commission. Our Executive Director, Marty Smith, would be here, but he has got the flu bug, which is going around. No, so we didn't want him here today, but you'll have to do with me. So I am looking at the easements, and I'll go from, sorry, you said 97, so that's the conveyances. So I'm looking at LC 620064. House Resolution 97, there are 16 conveyances all around the state, and I'll just go through them quickly, Mr. Chairman. In Bryan County, a conveyance of about .162 of an acre. It's a portion of the Bryan County Fire Tower site. This will be to Bryan County. They're adding a roundabout. In Cherokee County, a very small lease, a portion of Pine Log Mountain to the Cherokee Board of Commissioners. This is leasing a portion of tower space for another 6 years. The consideration is nominal, or $10. In Clark County, convey about 3 acres, the Athens Field Office. This will be part of a property exchange. We have a developer who's willing to construct a new building for us and then exchange property, so we'll be in a much better position at the end of that exchange.
Frank, let me stop you
Sure.
just a moment. Some of the new members may not understand the $10
Yes, sir.
fee and what we are actually doing and
Great.
why we only charge $10 instead of the full compensation.
Sure.
There. You want to briefly?
Sure. Forgive me, a little bit of backup. The reason we have all of these conveyances bundled into one resolution is the General Assembly is the only body that can authorize the conveyance of state property. So what my office does is whenever a state agency or a local government or somebody has a request to convey, lease, easement, anything with state property, that request comes to our office. We bundle it together in 2 separate resolutions and then bring it before this committee to consider. As far as the consideration, when a city or county is going to use the property for public purpose, like in Cherokee County, this will be a telecommunications tower for their 911, their emergency management. That is a public purpose. The state deems that public purpose consideration, and therefore the monetary consideration can be nominal or $10. Anywhere else you see a true monetary consideration, there is not a public purpose or state benefit. Does that make sense?
Any questions as to how we go about doing that portion? We've been joined by Representative Scott Hilton, and Scott, you want to just tell them briefly where you're from?
Well, I think we ought to make downtown connector state property and just clear it out. It'd be great. I represent Gwinnett County and Fulton County, Peachtree Corners, Johns Creek, Alfred, and Roswell. So, don't know if we've got any on here, but
Glad to have you. All right, please go ahead.
Thank you. All right, so I think I was on Colquitt County. Convey approximately 5.47 acres, a portion of Southern Regional Tech, to the Moultrie Colquitt County Development Authority for fair market value. This is one where we would sell it to them for the appraised value. The Development Authority would like to support the expansion of the Pratt Whitney facilities. So since that's a private entity, we would sell it for market value. Effingham County, this is amend an existing 30-year lease adding about 1.6 acres. This is a portion of Savannah Technical College. We have a lease with the Effingham County Board of Education. Their career academy needs more parking. And so, again, because this is a public purpose, a career academy, the consideration would be $10 or nominal. Next one in Fulton County, convey a very small portion of property down here at the World Congress Center to the Department of Transportation. This would be for a decel lane. In Glenn County, this one's a little more complex, but Glenn New Hope, who is a private entity, filed a quiet title action against the state, claiming ownership of about 4,000 acres of marshland. The Attorney General's office negotiated a settlement under the following terms. The state will convey title to the property. Will convey title to the property to Glenn New Hope. The state will receive 20% of any mitigation credits generated from the property. If no mitigation bank is approved or no credits are generated after a 10-year period, Glenn New Hope would convey the property back to the state. And then also upon the 25th anniversary of the settlement agreement, Glenn New Hope would quitclaim its interest back to the state. So in essence here, there's an arrangement where this entity would have the opportunity to set up a mitigation bank, return the property to its natural state. In exchange for that, the Corps would give credits, mitigation credits. The state would receive 20% of any credits generated. And then the state's really in the long game here, meaning no matter what happens, at the end of 25 years, if not sooner, the title to this property where there is a title dispute comes to the state. So that's the benefit to us is in the long game, we'll get clear title to this 4,000 acres.
Yeah, I had one representative from down in that area too. He's not against it. He just wanted to understand it a little bit better, and I hope I've explained it to him, and I may have to ask you to
Happy to.
Talk to the individual, because it was a little bit confusing there, and it is a large sum of acreage there.
Yes,
But
sir.
this is all marshland.
Marshland, yes, sir.
All marsh, very important to our system, our ecosystem.
Correct.
And so that one we may have to,
Yes, sir.
you may have some questions on it from individuals on that.
Absolutely.
Debbie, you have a question on that now?
I'll wait and ask.
Okay.
What made them think they had title to the property?
They have a deed, but the burden for the state is that you show an unbroken chain of title from today all the way back to a King's grant. It's a heavy burden, but if you can't do that, then what the Attorney General's office says is, well, neither side can prove without a shadow of a doubt ownership, so let's go toward the settlement agreement. And so that's what they've negotiated is a settlement agreement to clear title.
And Representative Hilton, this has been going on for a while.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And this is, it finally went to the Attorney General, and this is what has come out of this. And so if we approve it, then maybe we have finally satisfied the entities. Are you six?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this is basically mitigation rights that they're getting. Will they be paid money on the mitigation, or did I miss something there?
Right. So what they will do is we will convey title to the property to them, and then they will try to set up a mitigation bank. The
Right.
credits generated from that mitigation bank they can sell
Right.
And earn money, but the state would not pay them any
Right.
money. And they would be required to give us 20% of any credits generated. Those credits we don't typically sell, but if you think of like GDOT or ports or somebody where they're disturbing wetlands,
Right.
they have to either purchase those credits, or now the state would have some credits to give to GDOT or ports when they have to disturb wetlands.
And that can be anywhere in the state.
Right. And that's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify
Yes, sir.
that. Thank you.
It's a good question.
Okay? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's great. All right, Habersham County conveying about 4.75 acres, a portion of Lee Arundel Correctional Institute to the town of Alto. The consideration will be $10. They want to build a water tower to improve their water system. In Habersham County, in the same area, this 20 acres now to Habersham County for $10. They would use this property for their emergency management operations and their sheriff's office. Still in Habersham County in the same area, 180 acres of Lee Arundel, this time for fair market value. Habersham County, with their development authority, are trying to attract businesses and generate some economic development in this area. And again, because there is no direct benefit to the state, the charge would be fair market value. In Hall County, 3.7 acres, a portion of Lanier Tech to the Department of Transportation. You can see the consideration is $230,000. They are adding a roundabout. In Hall County, a lease of communication tower space. It's a portion of State Patrol Post 6. This would be to Southern Link. Southern Link would lease for 25 years for fair market value. This one and several others down the page are really a dual benefit in that Southern Link would be on the tower, on our tower, but also DPS uses Southern Link for their communications. So it's really a dual benefit. They would lease space from us, pay us a consideration, and then also provide a service to us. In Henry County, convey approximately 0.339 of an acre, a portion of the Henry County campus of Southern Crescent to Henry County. You can see this is also for a road widening project, and you can see the consideration there, $67,000. The next three in Miller, Sumter, and Tattnall counties are all, as I explained, in Hall County. These would be in State Patrol Posts 14, 10, and 18, a 25-year lease of tower space to Southern Link for their communications. Happy to take any questions.
Okay. You have a question?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. And thank you again, Frank. Just a question, and we've done this, and you do an excellent job, and I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I was a part when we want to make sure every representative or senator basically is contacted. Now, I never heard anything on this from Hall,
Yep.
and that's why I was asking.
Yes, sir.
But, for instance, I know we had a poultry lab about 8 to 9 years ago, and you could buy that. You sent in bids to buy. This in Hall, basically the Southern Link 25-year lease, I know what that is, they're going to own it, or they're leasing it 25 and the state gets it back?
So they're only leasing a portion of tower space. So we own the actual communications tower, and they're allowed to attach
Like Verizon and all
just like
that.
Verizon or
Okay.
something like that. But we're picking selectively Southern Link because there is that dual benefit that DPS uses Southern Link.
Okay, and then the other one, where the Lanier Tech, the price roughly $30,000, that's not open for anybody to bid on.
No, sir.
That's the roundabout.
Correct.
That's to build that
DOT.
for further product.
For DOT. That's right. DOT brought that project to us and said,
Right.
we want to build this, and this is what we'll pay you.
Right,
And we'll
and
see
I vaguely had a little bit,
Yes,
but I
sir.
just wanted to make
Yes, sir.
sure. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
get asked these questions all the time, that I can buy property here and everybody, and it doesn't work that way, so I want to make sure I could clarify that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Chairman Hilton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm a newer member to the committee, and I was surprised to learn how much property the state owns. And this may be a tough question for you to answer, but do you know in terms of acreage or, give us a sense or scale of
Sure.
how much state property is out there?
Sure. We own about 800,000 acres, and we lease about another 200,000 acres. Federal forest land is most of what we lease, and we own about 800,000 acres, most of which being wildlife management areas, state parks. So through DNR and forestry, they're about half of that, but about 800,000 acres the state owns.
And last question, do we deal, and the chairman may be able to answer this, that we're conveying property in this instance, does this committee deal with eminent domain or taking property for the state, or do we ever run into those issues? Just
Hopefully very, very rarely.
Mainly it's already,
So
time we get it.
Well,
its own.
this is dealing with a conveyance. So when the
Yes.
state wants to acquire through eminent domain, it's a very different process. Right?
Got it.
So this would be solely conveyances.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We also own air rights. We own.
Yes, sir. Mineral rights.
Mineral rights. We own along train.
Water rights.
all kinds of things.
Yes,
You know, this air that we breathe right now, we own it.
That's scary.
That's scary.
That's limited government conservative. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Representative Flournoy.
I guess it's along the line of questioning that my colleague asked as a former title examiner. I'm glad I don't have to read any long legals. But as far as, since most of these are from state agency to state agency, I guess along the same line of questioning, if there was, let's say, conveyances from the state to individuals or vice versa, would that process still be the same, or would that be a different process that your office will have to go through before it comes to this committee?
Sure. Very good question. So if it is a private entity, and again, as you said, most of these are public entities, we would have to go through a competitive bid process. What we would do is come here and ask you, like if we just said, this piece of corrections property is surplus, nobody wants it, but we just want to sell it on the open market. We'd come ask you for the authorization to sell it, and then my office would go put out a competitive bid and run a process to get bids and convey it to the highest bidder. So where we're looking for just a private entity and a competitive sell, we have restrictions and a process in our code that outlines how we sell property.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
He's going to be our resident real estate. That's his occupation, so we'll turn to him many times. We're glad to have you on the committee.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
At the appropriate time, I'll be glad to make a motion.
Well, we will let this be the appropriate time.
I move to pass for HR 97.
Second.
All right, we have a do pass and a second on HR 97. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of House Resolution 97, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Good. We have your first one.
Thank you, sir.
All right, now we're ready to do 98.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we are looking at LC 620063, HR 98.
That's correct.
I will walk through the synopsis you have. Again, a little background. Many of these you will see to utility companies for $10, a nominal consideration. What's happening there is
Is there not a synopsis in?
This is what we have, and this is what we have.
Yeah, there's not a synopsis.
It's not a synopsis on 98.
No, not for 98.
Okay.
This follows a little bit.
Yeah, that's for the members. Yeah, that's for the members.
I see Lamar County on this one too as well. I don't think Lamar County was on the previous one.
Can I see that small?
This does show granting different, but it says parking.
Well, if you're looking
Yeah.
at the second column, it says conveyance or easement.
Right. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, what you have in that kind of spreadsheet, looking and forgive the small print, is both of them combined, meaning if it's a conveyance
Yeah,
or an
they-
easement, both of them are on that small printed sheet.
While Terrence, can you get us a copy right quick of the synopsis, and I'm gonna let Frank go ahead and start, and I guess we can follow the bill.
Right. Yeah, have to look.
Way.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned way, yeah.
And forgive me if I don't reference line numbers. But
We'll try to follow you.
Okay. All right. So again, a little background about the easements. Where I say the consideration is $10 or nominal, anytime Georgia Power, which is who you'll see a lot here, a gas company, anybody else wants to come across state property to serve our building, we pick up the phone, call Georgia Power, we just built a new building, we need you to run power to it. We have to grant them an easement to come across our property. Well, we don't want to charge them money to bring power to our building. And so there is a nominal consideration to a private entity, but it's because we've asked them to run power to our building, if that makes sense. So, before I said we're not going to convey to a private entity. This, we're conveying an easement, and many times to Georgia Power, but it's because it provides the sole benefit to the state because we've called them and said, please bring power to our building.
And a lot of these are technical colleges, any kind of expansion that we have for the state.
Correct.
In that respect.
Are you beholden to us meeting?
Talking to the.
Sorry.
Say in July y'all need power, we're not in session. Do you have to wait 6 months till we get back?
We have the ability to grant a revocable license, which sort of bridges the gap between the General Assembly meeting, and that license can last up to 3 years, but no more.
Got it.
So we have a method to start a process so we're not waiting, but we only have a 3-year kind of gap before we need action from you guys.
There's also another committee over this committee that is headed by the governor that looks at all of these conveyances and things as well.
Sorry for all the questions. I'm learning a lot today, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
It's a lot to learn.
Yeah, that's good.
But you feel it very, very strong when you say every bit of this belongs to us.
Yeah.
And
like him.
We own areas that buildings are built on that you wouldn't believe. Last year, it was the Westin Hotel was sitting on our property, on our dirt. The building wasn't ours, but and we sold that, didn't we?
Yes, sir. We did.
Did we get any money?
We did. We got $50 million.
$50 million.
I think we need a field trip, Mr. Chairman, to check that out. Yeah.
We've got a good bit of. Isn't that amazing that you would have never thought that that belonged to the state, but it did.
That's great.
And they didn't fuss about the amount. We set the amount.
They did fuss a little bit. We drove a pretty hard bargain. We had our appraisal, they had theirs, and we insisted on ours. And that's kind of the nice thing about being the state. We just said, take it or leave it.
Yep.
It's not a very great negotiating, but it's
and they took
power.
it.
They took it. They said, okay, we got to have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that went into the treasury, I think.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's money we have now. They didn't really want to do renovations and spend a lot of money, and us still own it. So I thought that was a pretty good deal.
Yeah, they came to us saying that they wanted to do over $100 million of improvements to that hotel, and they couldn't do it without an ownership stake, which is understandable. And we saw some benefit in that hotel for economic development and tourism, and so get our $50 million. And
go to Disneyland.
All right. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Let's see if we can do this, and Terrence will be back in just a few moments.
Yes, sir. All right. In Barrow County, an easement to Georgia Power over approximately 1 acre at Fort Yargo. This is to provide power to the beach and day use area for $10. In Bryan County, an easement to Georgia Power over approximately 2.3 acres at the Hyundai Quick Start Training Center. This will be for distribution lines to serve our new TCSG building. In Chatham County, an easement to Georgia Power over approximately 0.8 of an acre at the Pooler Regional Training Center, the Quick Start building. Again, power serving our EV training center for Technical College. In Cherokee County, an easement to Georgia Power over about 4.5 acres at McGraw Ford Wildlife Management Area. This one is actually for market value because it's a transmission line running through our property. So because this line does not directly and solely serve the state, we're going to charge Georgia Power the market value just to run their power line through our property. In Coweta County, to Spectrum, over about 3 acres at the Chattahoochee Bend State Park. This will be fiber optic lines to improve our communications for the park for $10. In Fulton County, grant an easement to the city of Atlanta over approximately 0.09 of an acre over the Western Atlantic Railroad. This will be for maintenance of the Central Avenue Bridge replacement project. And in this case, again, since it's just benefiting the city of Atlanta, we're charging them $96,000, which is the market value.
How do we determine the market? Is there a set guideline for that?
So in this case, the city brings this project to us, and they have appraisers that say this is what the city believes the cost to be, and we have an in-house appraiser that will review that and say that's reasonable or that's not reasonable. And if it's reasonable, we usually go with it. Like for this one, if we think the value is $98,000 and they say 96, we're really not going to argue over, $1,500. We're going to go with their value.
I got you.
Haralson County, a Georgia Power easement, 2.2 acres at West Georgia Tech and the Murphy campus. This again is power to serve our industrial building for the technical college for $10. In Lamar County, an easement to the city of Barnesville over about half an acre at the Barnesville field office. This is a sewer upgrade for $10. McDuffie County, an easement to Jefferson Energy Cooperative, approximately half an acre. This will be underground distribution lines to the McDuffie public fishing area for $10. In Paulding County, an easement to Georgia Power over about 2/10 of an acre at the Paulding Forest Wildlife Management Area. Again, power to serve our building. This is power to serve the Paulding 911 communications tower. In Walker County, an easement to North Georgia EMC at Crockford Pigeon Wildlife Management Area.
Hold on, Frank.
Yes, sir.
He's got them now.
Okay.
We
Gotcha.
can find you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. That's the last one, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Good
Yeah.
start over.
In conclusion,
Thank you. All right, go ahead.
so we were on Walker County, which is second to last on the second page there. This will need easement to North Georgia EMC at Crockford Pigeon Wildlife Management Area. This will be to serve a new maintenance facility for $10. And then the last one in Walton County, an easement to the Newton County Water and Sewer Authority. This is over about 7 acres to install and operate a water tower and underground water and sewer lines. This will benefit and support our new Quick Start building for the technical college.
Okay. Also, keep in mind that the university system, the Board of Regents, they are not included in any of ours. They do their own.
Same with the Department of
And
Transportation,
the
Mr.
same
Chairman.
with the
So-
Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
Is that the only other two, isn't it?
Yes, sir. So what we bring to you is anything that's owned in the name of the state of Georgia. And so like Ports Authority, authorities can own their own property, Department of Transportation, and Regents. Everything else comes through our office.
Yeah, so you won't see those type things there. You may hear about them and things, but
Yes, sir.
as far as this committee, we do not. And you are certainly taking these, and you can talk to the members around you that you know, and if they have questions, or if they have, direct them to us, direct them to Frank. Frank has a quick response over at his office. We are also doing the new legislative office building, so they will be updating us on that a little bit later on. And it's coming along very well.
Yes, sir.
Over there. I think y'all have poured the foundation.
Yes, sir.
Over there. And we're supposed to be moving in next week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
A good contractor will tell you 2 weeks.
26
Yes,
is
26.
26.
Yes, sir.
So some of us may actually get to see it. Debbie?
26 of next year, 26 January, or the
But-
time frame? We'll move in sometime in 26, or?
Without our construction folks here, I'd rather not quote a date of move-in, but sometime in the calendar year of 26.
Could be early, could be a little later.
I know it.
I suspect it'll be a little later in 26.
And tell the committee, before we vote on this, what we have in store for the CLOB.
Yes, sir. So the Georgia Building Authority, who is attached agency to the Properties Commission, and we work hand in hand with them. The number 1 and number 7 buildings were demolished across MLK, which you saw, and a new legislative office building will be constructed on that site. I can tell you that the current legislative office building was considered as just being renovated, and due to columns and other conditions, it was determined that the most economical and wisest decision was to build a new building across MLK instead of renovating the legislative office building. So, and as you say, Mr. Chairman, we can, later in the session, as plans get finalized, we can have the appropriate people come and talk to the committee.
Very good, very good. Okay, let's go back now to House Resolution 98. You have heard the explanation of each one of those, and we're glad to have Representative Santos join us here, and we're glad that you're here. Do we have any further discussion on HR 98?
Mr. Chairman, it's appropriate time. At the appropriate time.
Okay. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second, okay. Do we have any further discussion? You had a question?
It's probably not appropriate, but is Georgia Power as big a landowner as the state of Georgia? All of these conveyances to them?
No, I don't believe they are.
Some of our forestry things are much bigger. Much bigger. Okay, you have heard that we have a motion to do pass and a second. Any further discussion from the members? All right, if not, I will call the question for House Resolution 98. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so we have both of those, House Resolution 98 and 97 now. Now, you will also see that the Senate will probably add some. And
Yes, sir.
when we go over, I'll go over, take it over, and try to get it through the Senate as quickly as possible. But the main thing is that they will have that option too, to add some more that we will take up then in the House when we present the bill in conference. Okay. So I'm just glad to have y'all as members, and feel free to talk to us anytime about issues. If you have one in your area, please do not hesitate to call, or if you hear of an issue, let's get it out before we get it on the floor of the House. On there. Do we have anything else to bring before the committee, Anna?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
one of our other roles and function is the oversight of our state prisons. Could we get some kind of report of what's going on? I hear a lot of concerns about safety and understaffing, turnover. It would be nice to have a report from the department.
You have one coming from, I understand, from the department, but I would be happy to reach out to Anna to talk to the commissioner to see if he would send someone over to address that at our next meeting. Because we also want to look at I've had several members to approach us about monies that have not kept pace with paying our vendors in our counties, that the amount of monies that we pay for DFACs, contracts and things. And I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Chet.
I don't know my thoughts are on it yet either. We'll have to dig into it a little bit more.
Yeah. You heard the same that I heard.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so anything that deals with those type things, we may have to create a study committee to look at that. I've also found that there are members that are wishing to combine buildings with DFACs and others in these smaller counties. Why have separate, put them all in one building? We'll see. And Frank and I have one down in Miller County that's an ongoing saga, and they came to me last night, so we'll see about that.
Thank you.
Chairman Hilton.
Oh, that was for the motion.
But I
Still for the motion.
Yeah, I will say, I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for turning on the air conditioning in the Capitol today. Thank you. I know you, yeah.
I'm telling you,
As Chair of State Properties.
It got us yesterday.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think we reached our limit yesterday of numbers.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
It was getting a little bit nervous with a lot of members in there that we had that. It was unbelievable. But I guess they love us. And they want to see us. Okay, if there's no other business to come before the committee, we stand adjourned. And thank y'all for coming so early.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. See you on the floor.
We need to put in the budget new chairs for half of these committees.
Yeah, no kidding.